Welcome back to The Evil Within, everybody. We last left off at the save point, I believe, my comfortable little sofa. This video is going to be a little bit longer than the previous one. As you may have or may have not noticed, I am doing this in post-commentary.
Although brilliant, Reuben was quite insane. A compromise of ethics on our part. He seemed motivated, obsessed with revenge against something never specified. We discovered what he was doing in secret. Torturing. Penchant for traps. A serial killer masquerading around as a scientist.
Well, we'll get a little information from Mobius that he believes that Rubik was within his psyche, he was a killer, not masquerading as a scientist. Reuben was intelligent, but he had other psychological problems which were further facilitated by his lust and desire for science and knowledge, which in the end led to a lot of deaths. I believe the death of his father by his own hands as well. Some interesting stuff. But as I was saying, I was doing this in post-commentary because after the previous episode I decided to continue playing, but due to hard drive and some mechanical problems, I don't know, it just wasn't allowing me to record both my sound and my video. Hard drive space was being a bit tight. But let's see what happens over here.
His demeanor has turned far too aggressive and his techniques even more perverse. Da Vinci would dissect corpses to further his anatomical studies, but what Reuben has done goes beyond. Demanding his subjects be aware as he dissects them to truly see how the mind reacts. He's more of a butcher than an artist. But we must remain scientists above all. I had taught him from a young age that the end shall justify the means, but I could not have predicted things to be this extreme. Mobius has learned of his involvement due to my carelessness. I've asked they bring him on board to assist in development. Perhaps offering him better facilities and support will refocus him and stave off his gruesome proclivities.
This machine was designed for me. People like you. You took my life away. Turned me into an abomination. Finally, with this machine, I can go back. I can live the life I was supposed to have.
We are forgiving. We are willing to overlook your certain peculiarities for what you can provide us. But you are testing our limits. Our manpower, our resources are not here for your pathetic fantasy. You will reverse the calibration on the machine so we can use it without you.
And what if I say no? You think Jimenez can fix this? You need me, and there's no way around it.
Ruvik. No. Reuben. This was where he was doing his research with us. We were just using him.
Okay.
And I doubt he's the first.
Please stop speaking, Kidman. As I was saying, we get two interesting bits of dialogue just describing his insanity as he was continuing his research. The fact that there's this comparison between Da Vinci that he used to dissect the corpses of the dead, of course, and different thing, humans, animals, to know more about what was inside, what made the human body. Makes sense for the sense of science to know ways to treat the human body. You need to understand the body as a whole. But now Reuben took this to the next level. Him being him, the psychopath that he truly is. And he decided, why not experiment to see the reaction of the mind as you dissect and inspect the body of a living human being. Now, that's a whole different case. Being cut up and dissected while you're still alive, it's really gruesome. And besides that, you can see that Mobius had him by the balls, pretty much. They wanted him to reverse engineer the machine such that it could work without Rubik's mind, his input, but he didn't want this, hence why they ended up killing him for it. Now, this boss right here, I do have to say throughout the entire Evil Within, whether it be from the vanilla game and the DLC, this monster, I'm not sure what his name is, but it has to be one of the most intense boss fights pretty much in the entire game for me personally, being put in these tight spaces, corridors, office blocks, etc., and having to avoid it or else it pretty much eats you alive. All your movements have to be quick, you have to be swift, you have no gun, no defense, and usually what the gimmick they use is that the door or the elevator you have to wait for has a timer on it, as you can see.
I don't have time for this.
And really, when I was playing this, my heart was beating. I'm actually glad, or should I say I'm actually happy to do post-commentary for this game. Reason being, now I can speak with a level head. When I'm playing the Evil Within, unlike other games, or should I say when I'm playing horror games, I am not relaxed, hence why it's very difficult to talk in a calm and relaxed way. Now we can observe this monster and see what it does. It seems that sound doesn't really captivate it. You can run when you're outside a certain range, but sight is guaranteed. If you are seen, it seeks you. But in terms of sound, not so much. And another kudos to the developers is that when the first Evil Within, the vanilla game, came out, there were so many optimization problems. But I mean, after the patches and then the DLC, which came with its own patches, the game runs optimally at the highest settings at 60 frames per second with no stutter, no tear, no nothing. It's really been a pleasure to record the game as compared to the first time when I played it.
You've got to be kidding me.
And then the music. Run, woman! Almost got seen there.
Come on.
Thank you for waiting. Have a productive workday.
A part of me wishes you could use the chemical lights as distractions. It's like, I know you can hit the monster with the light, and then it will distract the monster, but if you throw the light in front of the monster won't react to the chemical light, which is a letdown to me personally.
Is it gone?
I think I was able to get a view here where you could make her eyes glow. Yeah, I got it right now. Playing around with the lighting when I was playing. Really interesting. The showers of blood. Get the shirt all splattered. Now these, if I remember correctly, can hear you, but they can't see anything. So you can move very slowly in front of them and they won't react to you. But if you bump into them, they will blow up. What I believe I could have done is, I guess I could have hit one with a chemical light to send it into a frenzy, but I'm not too sure if that would have been such a great idea, because when they get into a frenzy, usually all of them decide to go insane. All I just had to do was wait for this one in particular to head over to the left here and make very quick movements before it comes back. Meet up with its friend. Luckily enough, we managed to make it through. I do enjoy one thing though. The fact that it is, well, I can't be too certain, but it is possible to go throughout the entire DLC without an encounter with any monster if you play it right. Well, that's the difficult part, of course, but what else can be said? Walk down this alleyway. I think we should be getting close to a checkpoint.
What have you done to Ruben? Show me!
Keep your emotions out of this, Jimenez. He brought this upon himself. We gave him a chance.
Where is he?
If you really wish to know, he's in the next room. Come, see.
You are now able to switch through the chemical lights and the flashlight, but sadly I was not able to do this. I was playing around with the buttons. I guess I'll have to look at the key bindings of the game, but I definitely could not do it. Pretty much that small little dialogue was what had occurred after Ruben had threatened Mobius to not reverse engineer the machine, so they found an alternative way. These puzzles. They're the simpler puzzles that are easier to solve, like this one. Much more fun, much more interesting. I don't know, I just like them more. It's not a matter of finding the code somewhere, but instead it's visually thinking to yourself on getting the blood stains exactly as they're supposed to be, such that you know that was the actual coordinate, the coordinates of the person who was touching the machine. And boom, almost at it, not yet. Trying to see what I did wrong. Then remove and fix this one. There are many letter scraps throughout all sections of the DLCs, and I've actually been lazy to go look for all of them to figure out what the letter actually writes, but for those of you who are really into this whole achievement thing, and if you really want to get into it, you are able to do so. After this piece of dialogue, you're gonna see me fail. I won't cut it out so that you can see how I failed.
What is this monstrosity?
Despicable? Coming from the man using his own patients to further his own research? The irony of this situation is amusing. But even you must realize what we can do with this.
This means STEM will run. We can continue the experiments.
And your assistance is even more necessary than before.
This whole project, from the beginning, it was about deceit.
Okay, now what we have here is a blackboard and a wall. Well, a board and a wall. And you use your light to how can I say this? To fade away all the fake paint and leave the visible paint, which will give you the general indication of what this thing is. So at first I was just fiddling around. I wasn't really paying much attention, pay no attention to it. Then I didn't realize when I was playing, but if you look behind that section, if you rewind a little bit, you'll see that there was some paint that stayed behind even after I flashed the light. But if you look at it from this angle, you won't notice that. You'll think to yourself, it's 3 across and then 3 down from the second one. Kept on trying, I kept on trying, and I was just, that's what you would see. But I kept on getting it wrong. And I was thinking to myself, I wasn't looking behind the board, I was just thinking to myself, what the hell? What the hell is going on here? I looked, I was counting, I was looking and I was counting, and nothing really. It's too bad I didn't notice earlier my mistakes, but at least now you can see the mistake I made. It was really, really puzzling. I even thought to myself, let me invert the lights, maybe that's the clue. But that wasn't the case. This was now just me. Me just being stupid for the most part. I think I was inverting the lights here. But if you look closely, you can see that they finally managed to put Ruvik's brain in a tank, a septic tank, I don't know. But anyway, what they had said is that since Ruben didn't want the machine to run without him, so what they ended up doing is killing him and using his brain, because his brain was the key. But that in the end they managed to achieve what they wanted, to make STEM work. by formulating and simulating an artificial body, and using Ruben's mind. So in the end, if you look at it from that point, then the main objective is to make a machine that is able to influence the minds of other people. So as an example, just imagine if you are a teacher in a class and you have many students. Instead of having to go to school every day to teach your students, you could use the STEM machine to connect the minds of your students to your own, which is actually quite an interesting thing if you think about it in that sense. That way the teacher's knowledge becomes the student's knowledge and vice versa. That would be looking at the STEM system in a, how can I say, in a good point of view. But we all know Mobius does not want to use it for that particular purpose. They want to use it for the sakes of mind domination and controlling of the human race. But I don't know. It's an interesting concept, even in terms of real life.
I saw what they have done to him, and I am appalled. To think the young boy I mentored is now this. A mass of gray matter in a glorified test tube. Could they have been planning this all along? And what have I become in all of this? They've managed to keep his mind alive by simulating an artificial body. His consciousness is being confined to a mental straitjacket, a gear in their infernal machine. They have even stricken his name and humanity, referring to him by an anagram, Ruvik. A crude joke, as if spitting on his grave. I almost felt the urge to smash the case and end it right there. But my anger was quickly replaced by scientific curiosity. Ruben's legacy will live on. I will spearhead the next step. I will create something of my own out of this tragedy.
Jimenez getting
What you see here is one of the first STEM prototypes.
driven by his desires.
It requires a physical connection from user to host. But Beacon houses a newer version with a wireless transmitter. All the user hears is a high-pitched tone, and they're connected. We've gotten word Jimenez is prepping for unauthorized usage. We would like the trial run to be on our terms, not his.
That sound in the patrol car must have been when Jimenez activated it. Joseph, Sebastian, Oscar. They were all pulled in with me. The STEM and Beacon. That's where it all started. There must be a way to get out of this world from there.
There are some things here that are to remain in the dark. Especially for you, kid. You're asking too many questions, ignoring your mission. Running from responsibility. Just like you always do.
No, that's not true. You don't know me.
That much is obvious. But we need to make sure you do what you're told.
You're lying to me, hiding things. I can't trust you, not like this.
You are not required to trust us. Only to obey.
You are not required to trust us, only to obey. Very powerful words. But before that piece of dialogue with Mobius, she had noticed, or should I said noted one thing. Most people got confused in the vanilla game, in the original Evil Within. When exactly was Sebastian connected to the STEM, and when was Oda connected to the STEM system and all the others? She pretty much, if you think about the words she just said, she had answered it. There was a distress call, there was a murder in the Beacon Hospital. That's a fact. And the police were called in, and this was the trap, the distraction. When Sebastian and the police entered the stem cell and supposedly confronted Ruvik, even though Ruvik was not technically real. When they went in, they were all drugged, or I believe they were drugged in some way, whether it be through something in the air, some pheromone of some sort. But anyway, they were drugged as soon as they went in, and then connected into the stem cell. So reality ended for the player playing the game when you are now exiting the hospital. That's when you are already part of the stem cell.
You were assigned to your team for a reason. Castellanos, Oda, they know nothing, but they're searching for answers.
Searching for us, you mean?
One of us. But this may be our chance to remove them. Having all of you in one place will provide us with opportunities.
That was one of the best S shots in this part of the decade. Thank you, Shinji. Based Mikami.
Why am I here?
Continuing on, now we should be reaching the police station. I was thinking to myself when I was playing, should I segment the video here, or should we continue playing? Then I decided, heck, why not? Let's let's continue playing and seeing what happens. It was quite interesting though. Even Kidman didn't understand why exactly is she in this police station. Really good, well, the design of the station itself looks really good, interesting place. A lot of work, I believe, was done by the art team in this particular game. Very interesting places. Too bad there's so little interactable stuff in the environment. It's just you running most of the time.
How's Lily doing? Great. Everything's going fine. Just wish my wife would be home more to take care of her. She barely took maternity leave, huh? One of Crimson's finest, I suppose. She's a great cop in her own right, but we can manage without her for a little longer. You should hope she doesn't hear you say that, or you'll be out in your ass, Joseph.
This looks like it's way before I got here. Everyone's so much younger. But Sebastian's profile didn't say he was married.
Now we see
Let alone a child.
we see Kidman now interacting with Sebastian's memories, because since everyone's all hooked up to the STEM machine, we're getting some interaction, some backstory that she never knew had occurred, which I guess little tidbits of information here and there, but nothing that the main game didn't already tell you. Into the deep, as the rooms get darker, the memories also get darker.
Look, Seb, we need to talk. Going off with your conspiracy theories? You're getting out of control. You don't pull that in front of the captain. I'm onto something, Joseph. I don't need you hiding shit from me, too. I'm not, Sebastian. I'm trying to help. I want to help. But you need to think about this carefully. Your daughter, it was a loss everyone on the Force felt. But your wife is... Myra left, Joseph. She left. When we needed each other the most, Myra left me. What would make her do that? I have to know. I don't care what it costs.
His daughter, then his wife? One right after the other? No wonder he always seemed so closed off.
Little hints of Sebastian's conspiracy that he had during his time married, happily married with his wife and having his daughter. The daughter died, and then his wife left him with no reason. So maybe Sebastian is thinking there was something more sinister involved. Maybe there was a murder.
Julie Kidman? She barely has any experience. We don't even know anything about her. Send her out canvassing witnesses then. Let her see the streets. No. She's coming with us. I'm going to train her. She's my responsibility. Look, I know you say it's personal, and I don't like to talk about it, but we can't have your misplaced guilt leading to rookies slowing us down.
Sebastian. He and Joseph weren't supposed to be involved. It shouldn't have happened like this.
You've been on assignment for a week. How has it been?
Observe and report, just like you ordered. It's surreal to be on the other side after all I've been through.
Any signs of anything?
Nothing yet. I'm not about to be caught snooping around the classified room while I'm still on probation, so I can't get what they have on us.
Just earn their trust. That's all you can do now. It'll take a while, but in the end, they will let you in.
I didn't know all these police officers were characters, though. Guess the tough, hard-boiled detective stereotype is still going strong.
Our reports on Oda are that he doesn't let things slide. So be extra careful around him.
Will do. Though I can't imagine us getting along well.
And Detective Castellanos. Anything you have to share on him?
Seems drunk half the time, but at least he's considerate. Is he really the one people are concerned about? He seems almost harmless.
He is known to get emotional. Just make sure to give him his space. Respect him. As your superior.
A little sympathy by Kidman. The lines between her job and her emotions are blurry in some dialogues, but not all. But within this current portion in time, she is really compassionate towards the two policemen, regretting having got them involved within this particular problem.
This is Crimson? This can't be real. The light.
A STEM prototype at Beacon.
Beacon. I just hope I can get there before he does.
And we are out in the open spaces finally. Getting closer and closer though to the end of this particular video. Some very interesting dialogues Kidman's passed, her assignment towards this police case and the whole STEM thing. Hopefully we'll be able to get involved with these things as we go further into the DLC. Walls falling to pieces. So it's interesting how they all had this urge or this idea that getting to Beacon would solve everything. Whether that's coincidence or not, I don't know. Maybe it's the influence of the collective mind, how they all think the same way, because they're all connected to the same machine that's being governed by Ruvik, but who knows. I didn't know what to do here. Me being the stupid person that I am, I was just like, I hadn't actually seen a monster in such a long time that I decided to walk towards it, but luckily enough it's a short encounter with the checkpoint. But pretty much what it's telling you is how to knock down enemies in this particular section of the game. You have to be really stealthy, as you have no weapons here, so if you do mess up, chances are you either have to run or you'll die. You have no healing, there's no place to hide. Could jump off and commit suicide, but that's not the best option. Get behind this one particular guy, shove him off, boom. And then if you are short on axes, if you never picked up the one before, there is one here, but I already had one. Now, drawing closer to this last guy. Trying to get the camera centered on him just right. And then we'll get the move on him. I would advise you wait for him to get to the edge and you push him off. There's no real need to waste your axe. There'll actually be one particular spot where you'll need an axe to make the section a lot more easier.
Beacon is close. Can't stop now.
should believe now are drawing closer to the objective and getting into this building.
Well, here's where you'll be living. The view's pretty spectacular, huh?
Holy shit. This is different than I'm used to. If you saw where I grew up.
The past is over. You're with us now. Here are the keys. It's yours. You'll have to take care of your own food, clothing, and incidentals. But your bank account has more than enough to take care of that.
So, that's it? What am I supposed to do?
Whatever you desire. But your assignment at the Crimson City Police Department is precedent to everything. You are a police officer, and you must live as such, and act as such.
I don't normally say this, but thank you.
You shouldn't be thanking us. These aren't gifts we provide. You have a very specific assignment at KCPD, and all of this is in exchange for that.
Okay, you're right. Sorry.
Don't apologize. Just show us you can do your job.
Kidman not being as cold-hearted as she's portrayed out to be. You would actually think that she was trained to suppress emotion with the way they were reacting towards her. You have another case, should I say another safe, with another code. But sadly, me being me, I was too lazy to go figure out where exactly the key to that safe is, or should I say the code to the safe, so I was just like, screw it. Decided to move on with life. City seems to be collapsing. Even for Sebastian, the city seemed to be collapsing the more you got closer to the main objective, or should I say towards Beacon. Not sure why. Could be a meaning that STEM is malfunctioning or STEM is breaking down.
But I am thankful. I don't know what would have happened to me if you hadn't brought me in.
The mark. Looks like it
Getting fragments here to open
the
up
only way out.
this one particular section now. Then believe I had to do a little bit of some cut editing here and there. Put the mark over there. This was before the video cut. This is when I believe you would actually need the axe when you crawl into this particular hole. That's when things get a little bit tricky, because you will encounter one monster, which but luckily enough you do have a spot to hide, and then you can reset the situation. It's not really all that much of an issue, but there's one last piece of the mark that you need. If you get within a cubicle's range of this particular monster, you will get seen, and 2 hits I would believe is enough to kill you. So you need to move slow, very methodical. Always good to observe movements from a distance, as you never know. Anything could be possible, but if you get behind her with this axe, you've made the situation a whole lot easier. Get to pick up the last piece of the mark. Then me being dumb here, had realized that I had made a mistake and not put the 3rd piece. So I was thinking, why is the light not working? Why? What's going on? Took me quite a while, you have to forgive me on that. I was a bit slow to remember that I already had the 3rd piece, but I had forgotten to put it back. No, why are you going back there again? Oh my god. Yeah, forgive me. Just interesting for me to show you some of the times when I do act really, really dumb and then I get forgetful, thinking to myself, where is that third piece? Where is it? The reason why I'd forgotten was because I'd first recorded the section of me putting the 2 pieces and going to find the third one, and then I had to stop playing, and then I started recording again when I was crawling through the hole when I'd reset the checkpoint, and forgot that I hadn't put the second piece, and I actually still had it in the inventory, but me being me, I'd forgotten that, so just had to go back. And then I figured it out finally. You get into the elevator.
This is your last chance to prove yourself to us, kid. Don't let us down. Bring the boy to us.
Stop it! Get out of my head!
Interesting thing to note is that if Kidman is now slowly rebelling against Mobius, her body is still connected to the machine. What's stopping them from just killing her and sending in someone else? Or is it not possible to just connect an extra person into the machine once the process has begun? Not too sure about that, but thanks for watching. As we take a quick save, I will try find more time to continue this wonderful DLC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.